Here we are then on the gates for round 7 of the MXBGP here in the EU in Arnhem in the Netherlands. Let's get this race underway then. Who's it going to be? Down to the whole shot. Down go the gates and off we go. It looks like a fantastic start there for Steiner on the inside. Husqvarna doesn't look like it's going to get that whole shot though, and it looks like Pump on the Prestige KTM gets a fantastic start there, finding his way all the way through into P1. Unfortunately losing the wheel there just going through turn 2, but he does pull the whole shot. Probably then, I believe, leading the moto as we come over the JVDL Designs jump for the first time here tonight. Let's get our way over to the TV cams and see what's going on. Absolute carnage then here through the middle of the field. Sullivan's gear looking nice though, as we mentioned a little earlier on though. Looks like Finn off to a tough start as well here. Way down at the back of the pack now. Caught up in some really heavy traffic. He's got to find his way up and through that field if he wants to continue to defend his title position. Let's see then if he can pull it out of the bag. We've got Sand Chicken holding on nicely. Hopefully he can make his way up through the field. Let's have a little look then up towards the front of the pack. How many bikes are there? My goodness me. And I think I saw Doc there for a moment. Where did he go? I've lost him. Here he is on the Honda. He's off to a pretty decent start, all things considered. Roughly halfway through the field. Got himself through a lot of the early race stuff, but obviously caught up in an early race something. Willie then leading the moto on the SL Design KTM, just ahead of Dan on the TSCZ Productions KTM, just behind. Trying to close in, of course, for that P1 position, but he's not going to get it just yet because Brad Jekyll is closing in down the inside on the Mostra KTM, makes his way around the outside of that right-hand corner. A fantastic move then, by all means, from Brad. He's going to be very happy to have got that done nice and early. Dan, though, going to be straight back on the offense here now, trying to re-secure that position as soon as we can. Brovy then, on that Prestige KTM, currently holding in very, very nicely for the P4 position. We've got Emil then, holding on to P5, getting a little scrubby there. Neon, of course. Absolutely storming his way up through the field, nice and early on into the race here. P6 already. That's what we like to see. Rupidoc up to P9 then, after finding his way through a lot of the traffic very, very early on. Yeah, Finn got off to a really, really tough start. He's been collected once again there by another downed bike. Some really serious traffic that he's having to ride through here. We're talking going 3 wide through some corners, just desperately trying to get past these guys. He knows he's got the pace. He just needs to get through them without any hazards. That's the main thing, really. Hopefully we do see him climb up through the field. He's got 27 minutes left on the clock to do so, so I'm sure we'll see him get up there towards the start. But yeah, he did get caught up in some real stuff at the start of the race. Keeping a decent pace though through those waves, and you can see immediately what I was on about earlier on during the edits. He's all about keeping low, getting that back wheel straight back on the ground, and that's why he closes up with the bikes in front of him just so quickly. Look at that, it's constantly working to drop that rear wheel on the Husqvarna, get it straight down onto the ground, get accelerating once again. Especially on a circuit like this in the sand, you really can't afford to be losing momentum. Brad, though, making a move down the inside of Willie, trying to make a move for P3, gets around the outside of that corner, tucks it through. A very nice move once again from the Mostra KTM. He's up to P1 now. Willie down the inside on the SL Design bike, trying to make it back, and gets it nice and secure there. A much faster line, it looks like, on the inside of that particular corner. Or either that or Brad had a bit of a mistake. Who's to tell just yet this early on in the moto. For now, though, getting back through the field just a little bit further. We'll have a little look at what's going on. Valentin off to a decent start here, up to P5 then on the Aero X Husqvarna, and Lynette on the Illusion Racing Husky doing very nicely as well. Doc up from way back in the field, all the way up to P7 now. So he's doing very, very nicely. We saw him P11 just around a minute ago. So that's always nice to see the Doc doing well. Let's see if he can pull something out of the bag here tonight. He usually does quite well at these sand tracks as long as he can keep consistent. For now then. Ooh! Brad's having a tough time getting up and over that hill, but makes it look as easy as he can. Master KTM then trying to close his way in once again to the SL Designs bike just up in front in the P1 position. Willie, though, not going to be likely to leave that position alone anytime soon for the foreseeable future. It looks like we're actually coming up to the back of the tail of the pack already. Either that or someone else is leading the race. I'm very confused as to what's going on here. I think I was just seeing Willie in the distance there, off of Brad's POV, and thinking he was a letdown bike. So my apologies. Not to worry though. 7.5 tenths then between the two bikes. Dan currently holding on to P3, but nearly 3 seconds there from the leading bike. That's going to cost him a lot if he can't close that gap back up. Probably holding on very, very nicely. Let's have a little look at Finn then as he comes up through the field now. We're all the way up to P17 now after that very, very rough start. Just 5 minutes into the moto then, made his way roughly a quarter of the way through the field here. Actually borderline halfway. 35 bikes, of course, starting in these motos. Here we go then, down the inside of Steiner, trying to get the position. Steiner, of course, a very capable rider in his own account as well. So always a bit weird to see him down here, as well as Neon. All the way down at the back of the pack with Leapasek as well. Yoku's up down here. A lot of bikes then getting off to a really tough early race. Starting going down once again there on the inside. This track will punish any minor mistakes by either just completely sucking the speed out of the bike or just throwing you off of it. So no mistakes please and thank you, boys. Brad then losing a little bit of speed now to the SL Design bike. Willie just up in front. Will, of course, up there with a 1.8 second gap ahead of him just as we come over down the AB Customs jump and down into the next left-hand hairpin. Keeping himself very smooth as we do so, at least for the moment. Those top three starting to spread out just a little bit. Valentin, of course, trying his best to close into the back of Dan here, but roughly 3 seconds separate them at the moment. Probably not too far off the back of Valentin. Could be seeing a positional change there in the next few laps or so. Emil and Reaperdoc and Sandchick in a three-way fight then as we battle it out here for the P8 position on track. Currently that's held by Sandchick, and Emil takes P9 and Doc for P10 here at the moment. Let's see if he can try and make his way up through the field just a little bit more. He gets his way nice straight back down onto the ground there on the Honda. Down the inside line now, he's going to secure that position, as does Redo on the OJR KTM. He's going to secure that as well, picking up that same inside line, just stealing it away from Emil there. Not today, that's mine, thank you very much, he says. Emil though, looking to try and immediately come back on the offensive, trying to come back alongside Redo here as to come up and over the JVDL Designs jump. Redo though getting a lovely scrub, just stretching that gap out just a tiny bit more. All you need, fractions of a second at a time, and you keep that steady and the gap will surely grow. For now though, Sandchick instead a reasonable gap ahead of Doc, roughly half a second between these two bikes at the moment. So Doc hopefully looking to try and climb up back through that field. Let's have a little look back at Will here. Looks like Brad is closing on big time, and potentially the SL Designs KTM may have a 1 second penalty. We'll see how that updates as the next timing gate gives us the new gap. We shall see. Coming down the waves here at Arnhem then. Like I say, tough to keep momentum. Brad then looking like he's closing that gap up nicely here. 0.66, and it looks like Will doesn't have a penalty there, so Brad may have passed him briefly when we were looking away at the other riders there for a moment. But the Mostra KTM back down into P2 then, as Willie takes that racing lead once again, of course, here with just 22, well, just shy of 23 minutes remaining on the clock. Doing it very nicely indeed then here, currently leading the race pretty much since the start, barring obviously that slight overtake by Brad on the previous lap there. Dan, of course, still holding that P3 position. The gap between himself and the Prestige KTM with Brovy behind though. Brovy closing that gap up big time now, just down to 3/10 at the last timing gate. It looks like he may have had a bit of... He's got past. Never mind. Brovy's up to P3. Vaillant found his way past the TSCZ bike. And Dan then left scrambling his way onto the back of the Prestige KTM. He's got to find that position once again. Brad, though, once again on top of the racing leader, trying to secure that P1 position here as we fight it out through the really bumpy corners here at Arnhem. A brutal sand circuit here this week. I cannot say it enough. The track tries to do everything within its power to slow you down, so you've got to work as hard as you can against it here. Brad pulling an absolutely fantastic line into and around that corner there, scrubbing our way over the top of this hill. Beautiful landing. It's all about getting that rear tyre straight back on the ground. Oh, a little bit too much of a scrub there from Brad, but he manages to maintain control of the bike. The shiny side still pointing the sky. And he'll be looking to try and close that gap back up as soon as possible. Where is Finn now? Finn is all the way up to P11 now. Found his way just around the outside of the leaper sec there, it looks like. Potentially... Oh, he's going to lose a couple of positions here by the looks of things. Potentially lost a couple of positions since the last timing gate here. His leap sec shows P15, so not sure who is for better or for worse, if that's the right thing to say. We've got Redo just up in front, so I think this is the battle for P11 then between Lipo and Finn. Lipo presumably has a penalty or two. We'll have to see how that updates throughout the rest of the race. For now though, Finn gets the position done and he closes down once again onto the back of Redo now. The OJR KTM under threat from the TSCZ Husqvarna. Finn running it a little wide there again, risking some potential track limits penalties there. Definitely can't be... the merging lines. Miscalculated there by both riders, unfortunately. Yoku and Finn collide together there as the two lines merge. Brad closing once again to the racing leader. Roughly a second separates them over the previous timing gate, but it looks like that's starting to close down now as we come through this next sector of the track, especially when Willie does stuff like that. So Brad then takes the P1 position up and over the Cross Designs jump we go. Very nice stuff for the Mostra KTM, the SL Designs KTM, and Willie then is going to have to try and put some serious work in now. He's lost another position there. That's Dan going through, and we know Dan was 7 seconds back from Will at the time. So that's going to be a significant loss of both time and places here. He's got a lot of work to go to try and find his way back up into that P1 spot. Let's have a little look at lap time, shall we? A 1:48.3 is his best, with a 1:49.9 on that previous, and a 1:48.6 here from Brad. So it's roughly 3/10 faster than Brad on a fast lap. And of course, Brad a little less consistent, but still maintaining good time here versus his opponent. Well, he's having another issue by the looks of it. 54 there from Dan on the last lap. A 10-second gap now between the two. It looks like Valentin's actually found his way past Willie here. The SL Design KTM then really suffering at this point in the moto. He tries to find his way back down the inside, secures the P4 position once again then. So that's good stuff at least. Where is Brovi in all of this? Looks like he's found his way back past Dan, up and into the P2 position then for the Prestige KTM. He's going to be wanting to try and, of course, close that gap between himself and Brad here, but that 10 seconds is not going to be an easy feat at all. It looks like Dan must have had a bit of a collapse there, a bit of a fall off the bike. Definitely not an ideal situation. In fact, let's keep those lap times up for just a moment. I'm just curious. Finn running a 50.9. You can see just how detrimental that traffic can be to one of the top bikes on the field here. Trying to find his way down the inside of Louis and the outside of Lipo. It's not an easy feat here as you go 3 wide on the middle. Through we go though, getting the position done. He locks it ahead of Louis there on the outside berm. Unfortunately, gets a bit of a wobble. Keeps a decent drive. It looks like Lipo's back ahead as well there. Definitely a tough situation there. Let's have a look at Lipo's time, shall we? Where is he? Lipo's time on 151.3 there on the third lap of the race, and Doc putting on 150.6. So Doc keeping a pretty decent pace here. A little bit faster than Finn so far in the moto. We'll see if we can get something going on. What was that camera angle? Anyways, Brad holding himself nice and solid here. His last lap was his best with a 1:47.854 then for the racing leader. He's going to be very happy with that. We can see Brovi a slow lap there at 53. Definitely not going to be too happy down here. 52.5. Same deal. A little bit off the pace here compared to that racing leader. Willie here though could potentially close that gap back up, but it's going to take a lot more consistency than he's shown in that last lap. Let's see if we can pull it off for the rest of the race. Still 18 minutes to go. If he lets this affect him too much, he'll struggle to come back. But if he keeps his head down, he's definitely got the potential to move his way back up towards the front end of the field. Valentin then holding on a decent P5 position. We can see Willie there just behind him. So I believe Valentin actually P4, potentially harbouring a penalty. We'll see how it updates over the next timing gate or two. For now though, the Aero XK Husqvarna, is leading just ahead of the SL Design bike. It looks like no penalty then for Valentin. He does keep an organic gap there between himself and the previous racing leader. Top on the ETO Husky, not too far back either. And Doc back up to P7 by the looks of things. In fact, back down to P8, as Lennert on the Illusion Racing Husqvarna finds his way back past the RD Honda. We'll see if Docky Wocky can get his bits going then. For now though, I need to see if I can. I need to remember to message him to get his gear for future streams. For now though, Dan keeping a nice solid P2 here. Unfortunate gap there between himself and the leader. It's 12.5 seconds. He's usually got a pretty serious pace, but this sand circuit here this week seems to be proving very difficult for Dan. And he's not quite keeping that regular consistency that we like to see from the TSCZ bikes. And in then around the outside on the Aero X Husky. Losing a little bit more time there as he came off the track. It looks like the ETO bike found his way through to Willie and Brovi too. Looks like they did. Brovi then up into the P3 position, I believe. And that's Dan just up in front. That's the P2 bike. Prestige KTM then finds his way down the inside as we jump our way into the inside rut. Locking that corner off. Doesn't quite get the drive to the outside that he could have taken to maximise the exit speed, but he still holds the position nonetheless as Sam goes down the inside trying to find a gap, but it's not an opportune one there as he struggles to deal with the bumps on the landing of the jump there. What up, Smokey? How are we getting on, my man? Hopefully having a nice evening. Down there, trying to close in, back again, once again, all the words for P2. Couldn't think of the right thing I wanted to say, but we're having a nice time. We are doing good, Smokey, thank you. EU is cooked. EU is having a wild time here tonight. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's always an interesting fight nonetheless. For now though, Dan is closing back up once again. Looks like Willie's found his way through though. Where did Brovi go? Brovi's behind them once. No, he's ahead of them. He's ahead of them. He is holding the P2 position on the track. P4 on the timing gate though. So we'll see how it updates. Potential penalty there for the Prestige KTM. Definitely not an ideal situation if that is the case. Then, of course, here, down in P4 on the track. Will he P3? Let's see how this works out. For now, Valentin on the Aero X Husqvarna. Looks like he's actually closing up. We're starting to get a nice little bit of a battle. Starting to look like it's developing here at the front of the field, which is always nice to see. Willie then here on the back of Brovi, trying to find that P2 position once again. The previous racing leader, after dropping up back a considerable way there with a pretty inconsistent lap earlier on in the moto. Hoping to try and recover though. Down the inside we go. We know he's got the pace if he can put it together. Just struggling there on the exit as we come up and over the Valor table. A little bit of a case there as well for the SL Design KTM. Yes, down in the background trying to close the gap down. It's going to be a tough situation for himself though. Really trying to get down the inside of Brovi. It's not going to happen here. Keeping himself nice and stable there. Finn making his way up through the field, back up into the P10 position now then, as we overtake our way past Yoku. That could be the position for P9 then. Looks like Rupidoc and Lennert just up in front, so I believe, yeah, Finn P9 now on the track. Let's see if he can find his way past the dock here in the next couple of turns. Down the inside he goes. Honda obviously to the outside. Doc getting a great drive on the exit there as we come up and over the Ace Moto tabletop. Reaper then trying to get that defensive work. Oh, he just unfortunately blows that corner there a little too early on the gas. And a little too much speed on the exit there. Easily done, especially under the pressure of Finn here. Finn down the inside of Lennert. Looks like the Illusion Racing Husky's just going to kind of let it happen. Potentially the safer of the two options there after seeing what happened to Doc. Lennert though, now going to try and follow Finn's line, trying to learn here from the top qualifier. Let's have a little look at Finn's lap times. He's managed to get a decent lap in now with a 1:48.691. That's more like what we were expecting. I'm sure we'll see him start to close that gap up towards the rest of the field in the near future. 47 seconds though to Brad in the P1 position, so that is not a gap to laugh at really. That is some serious business there that Brad's got. 20 seconds to P2 as well. The Mostra KTM could be in with a chance here tonight of holding on to that P1 victory. As long as he doesn't do stuff like that. The commentator's curse strikes very quickly and without hesitation. And unfortunately, it doesn't care who we're watching. Brad then, unfortunately, is going to lose a few seconds there. Nothing too major. It's not going to eat too much into his gap, and I'm sure he won't struggle too much in opening it back up. Unless Willie here on the SL Designs KTM can start getting that pace back in. It's going to take a minute to get it dialed though. Brovi then trying to make a move onto the back of Dan here in the battle for P3 now on the circuit. Brad's running a big ball. Ain't no way. He's having a very nice race. Like I say though, in these sound circuits, it's all about keeping consistent momentum. That's what you need to be doing here. You lose the momentum, the acceleration is going to be poor compared to how you're used to it being. And you just can't make the same mistakes. And of course the circuit, just that little bit more unpredictable with its bumps and its curves. Down here, ahead, or just behind Willie rather, in the battle for P2. Trying to close that gap down. It's roughly a second and a half between them, according to the previous timing gate. I'd estimate more like around a second here at the moment. Sean with the follow, appreciate you, my man. And TSCZ Productions KTM then looking to try and close in for that P2 position. It's going to take a little minute though before we can get that gap done. He's run at 47.680 though on that last lap, so Dan's really starting to get cooking now as we settle in for the proper race pace. Let's have a little look here. We had a 47.1 there from Willie, but it didn't count. He had a penalty pop up, presumably, or just an off-track excursion of some sort. The second one there, causing him to lose 3 positions in the process. That's some real dramatic stuff there for the SL Designs KTM. He's not going to be happy with that. He's going to be thinking, were these guys really that close behind me? Valentin slips his way down the inside. Yes, we were. The Aero X Husqvarna makes the position up then. Lovely stuff indeed. Dan then holding on to that P2 position, I believe now, in a reasonable fashion there. Again, that gap to Brad though. Look at Brad. He's caught up with the tail pack of the field here as we come into the final 10 minutes or so of the first moto. Keeping himself incredibly smooth here, incredibly stable as we try and find a way down the inside of the blue flag bike, around the outside of the Kawasaki. We've gone between the two. A risky, bisky move. Look looking nice and smooth though as we come up and over that AB custom jump, and you can see the scrub that the leader gets compared to the lap down bikes. Just trying to squeeze absolutely everything that he can out of that Mostra KTM and keep that gap nice and steady. I'm sure he'll be settled in, but he definitely wants to open the gap between himself and the blue flag bikes before any disasters happen. There's one almost waiting to happen there. Luckily he keeps a decent pace through the outside line of the corner there, and up and over the finish jump we come. RDJ there under the blue flag conditions now. Let's have a little look then. Let's have a little look. What do we got up near the front of the field? Looks like Willie's struggling still. Having a few more issues with the consistency here this evening. Definitely got some good pace, but he's really struggling to keep that bike upright. Probably then finds his way through, as does Valentin. Very nice stuff indeed. Finn then closes the gap that was 47 seconds to the leader. It's now just 35. I think he may actually be able to close up with Brad, provided he doesn't get any incidents and any hazards ahead. As long as he gets through the traffic with relative ease, Finn may be able to catch that leader. But it's going to take some serious pace here. A 45.5, I believe, the fastest on the circuit here tonight at the moment. Some very, very serious pace. Neon here, usually a fast bike, a 147 on the board, showing he's got the pace, but he's struggling for that consistency here this evening in Arnhem in the Netherlands. Look at that gap there for Brad though. 18.7 it's gone back up to here, as we have 8.5 minutes on the clock for the first round of the MX2, or the first moto of the MX2 rather, 7th round of course. Dan then trying to close his way down to the back of Valentin. Once again, this is a fight for P2 starting to develop between these two riders. Valentin lost a little bit of time on that previous lap, but Dan's managed to make it back up. So that's always nice to see. Brovy, of course, not going to be counted out of the race just yet. He's still very much in the contention for a good podium position, as is Willie, provided he can keep that bike facing the sky. ETO Husqvarna now here though, up top, trying to close that position down. He's having a look down the inside line here. Keeps a decent drive, but Willie gets the better one and maintains the position at least going into that particular corner. Todd though on the ETO Husky really starting to close that gap down. You can see just a couple of bike lengths there between the two riders as we come down this next straight into a hard right hand corner and rail our way through the outside there on the ETO bike. Willie putting in a nice bit of defensive run in here, just holding out on to a preferential line until he needs to move. Always nice to see. We've got probably closing in once again to the back of Dan. Where is Valentin? Looks like he's still holding on to position P2 just up ahead then. No mistakes so far from the Aero X bike. Dan then trying to close his way in to the back of the field. To the back of the field, to the front of the field rather, sorry. Trying to get his way back up into the P2 position. That's going to be the name of the game here really tonight. Probably trying to close that gap up though. He really wants that podium here tonight. Definitely having a very, very nice ride there on the Prestige KTM. Tries to look down the inside. Valentin's made a mistake there in the P2 position. Dan then finds his way through up and into P2. Brovy gets that podium seat that he's been fighting for. He needs to fend off Valentin from behind now, while also trying to find his way up and into P2 past Dan to secure that position nice and tightly. We've got Lanson there, a blue flag bike, the ETO Kawasaki there, giving a wave to the faster bikes, showing that he's willing to concede his line to let them through. There you go, you can see him sticking right down to the outside of the track there. That's exactly what we want to be seeing. Lovely stuff indeed. Dan then goes around the outside of Valentin, trying to scrub the life out of that KTM. Just gets his way, landing back on the ground once again ahead of the Prestige KTM there. Dan may be able to find his way down the inside here and secure the P2 position. He does so. Valentin for P3, Brovy for P4. It's getting very close as Valentin has a little bit of a network lag there. Hopefully we don't see too much of that, and hopefully it doesn't cause any collisions between the riders. Brad though still holding a near 19-second gap. An absolutely phenomenal ride here as he closes in to Matteo de Sousa. Hell yeah, Slumped. It's a very busy night. Welcome in to all you people that are here. If it's your first time, do give us a follow. We do a lot of EU commentary for the Aerial Championship and of course the HSM Amateurs too. But for now, this is the MX2 race. Yeah, for the MXBGP of the Netherlands. Hopefully we... Oh, Brovy's had a huge moment there. front end, just slipping out from underneath his bike there, losing the position. Dan and Valentin then scrapping it out once again for the P2 position. Dan is out of it, and Valentino gets his way back up into the P2 position. Down then, down to P3. It looks like he's holding on. Finn, though, out of nowhere, climbs his way up through the field. Now it's the fight for the podium. Can he get it done around the outside of the KTM on the TSCZ Swan Labs Husqvarna? Yes, he can. Up and through, past Dan we go. I believe that is now P3 for Finn as he closes in with the racing leader. The 47-second gap that we saw with roughly 10 minutes on the clock, now down to just 25 according to the last timing gate. That will come down the next time he crosses one. Show number 657, where is he getting at to? Where is he getting up to? We've got Emil here. He's a lap down, unfortunately, there on the ESD KTM, but he's doing okay. He's down the inside of Woodland there. That's for position. Holding on to his P29 then here at the moment. Yeah, struggling a little bit. He got off to a great start, though, in the race. He's got some really nice pace there, but just struggling to get that consistency and, of course, get through the traffic. That is the name of the game, really. 24 seconds, though, between Finn and the leader. Valentin just up in front, it looks like. Not sure where Brovy is. Brovy's holding on for P2, Valentin for P3, and Finn for P4 then, presumably. Sullivan is down, unfortunately, in a relatively low place. Where has he gone? Here he is. He's back down in 21. So, you know, not the worst of rides, but certainly not his best of rides. We'll see him in a little moment. It looks like Finn, though, onto the back of Valentin here. Could be getting a little bit of a positional move up and through, back up onto the podium. It's going to be a tough fight there for himself, though. What up, Meshi? How we getting on, baby? Finn, though, keeping himself as solid as we can, scrubbing the life out of the bike there, up and over the cross designs jump, through the little double into this corner we go, inside to outside, merging those lines. Very nice stuff. We've got the Valor jump here as we come up and over the long table, chasing onto the back of Valentin once again here. Valentin not looking to let up the position, but he goes off the track there due to a little bit of the commentator's curse there. So Finn takes the P2 position with a 24.5-second gap to the leader and just 3 minutes on the clock. Brad could hold this as long as he keeps that bike nice and tidy. Valentin then down in some traffic now. Definitely not ideal. Can we see 657 for a second? We definitely can, now that the gap at the front has opened up just a little bit more. Emil, of course, having a nice run. I've got his helmet. I don't seem to have much more of his gear, unfortunately. So hopefully we can see me get some more of that in the future. For now, though, he's having a pretty decent ride here. His lap time of 57.399. So we know he's got the pace, but he's just been struggling with consistency over the last handful of laps by the looks of things. And of course, being passed by the leaders is going to slow anyone down. P1 is not going it. Why not? Why can't he lead the race? I like seeing new people up there, man. Neon climbing his way through the field, but really, really slowly. He's really been struggling here this evening. Again, got great pace when it can, but just really inconsistent here tonight. The sand circuit, really brutal, and taking out a lot of the top riders. Sam here as well, I believe, holding in one of the top 3 positions in the championship. A 47.8 on the board, and a 48.8 at his last lap. He's by no means slow, but he's just been struggling. He's been caught up in early race incidents. He's been slowing down. He's been a little bit inconsistent at the start of the race. Now just not got the pace to catch back up with the lead just yet. There's just not enough time in this moto. Reap it up though, holding a nice 48.2 there on the 7th lap and 54 in the last. Of course, it's a little bit tough there on that previous lap, but nice consistent laps by the looks of it other than that, which is always very, very nice to see. Mitri, you want to have a little look? What am I doing? Who am I looking at? Here we go. Yeah, a 150.2. Not too shabby. Finn here though, a 44.9 from the P2 bike with a 20-second gap to the leader. 1 minute on the clock before our final couple of laps. Place your bets, boys. I'm going to put a prediction in the chat. Hang on a second. Alrighty then, we've got a 1 minute, well now I'm going to put a 30-second timer on this submission period. It's going up. Make sure you put your vote in. Get your predictions in. Is Finn going to catch up with the racing leader and secure the win? In the last 30 seconds, he's closed 3.5 seconds. I personally don't think it's possible unless Brad makes a mistake, but of course we've got to be able to take into account Brad might make a mistake at this point in the moto. The pressure is on. He knows there's just a couple of laps. He's going to be trying to dial his pace back a little bit to stay more consistent, to make sure he doesn't go down. But will that dialing back be enough to let Finn catch up? Not entirely sure. That's going to be the name of the game. Kane said Finn gets it. We shall see, we shall see. The predictions are over. What have we got here then? Brad, 3 laps on the clock, so roughly 2.5 remaining. Very, very nice race here though for the 250 crowd. Oh, an unfortunate crash there for the lap down bike, collecting Finn rather. That was the P2 bike, of course. He's still holding on to that P2 position, but that's going to affect his gap closing ability. Just a few laps then on the board. Lipasek up and over the Valor tabletop, keeping himself nice and stable here. 41 off the leader, but he's keeping pretty consistent lap pace there of 47.5 and 47.4. 52 there in the middle, which is not super consistent, but there you go. Can't win them all, eh? Especially if you get collected by lappers like that. It just happens sometimes. Ripadok fallen down a little bit through the pack here, but he's holding on to P12. Still a very, very respectable finish if you can hold that on. Sullivan here, a P20 position here on the privateer KTM, using a WS, or using, I assume that's downwide suspension. But keeping himself nice and stable here at the moment. Show Brad's lap, we will have a little look at Brad's lap here. Brad has got a 47.3, so by no means is he the fastest on the track, but he stayed incredibly consistent throughout most of the moto. He had a tiny hiccup there on lap 15, but nothing too major. A little hiccup on lap 13 as well. But again, keeping a nice solid pace. He's kept consistent throughout the race, and provided he keeps that bike with a shiny side facing the sky, he's going to have a very nice time here tonight. Steiner here, currently in the battle for P3 between himself and Brovi just up in front. We'll see how the timing gate updates our positions. Yeah, it looks like no penalty then for Brovi up in front, so Steiner's going to have to get the position done here on track. Just a tenth or two separating these two riders. It's really, really close now between the Ace Motobike and the Prestige KTM in the fight for P3. A couple of laps left in the race, certainly not long left to go. Up over the Valor tabletop we come here now. Neither bike particularly scrubby. No one really wants to risk it at this point in the race. You just got to keep consistent. Copy your opponent. I pray they make a mistake. There goes Brovi, and Steiner takes the P3 position here on track on the Ace Moto Husqvarna. That's exactly what he was looking for. And that's exactly what he's going to have. Yeah, Brovi had a bit of a tough time there flying off the outside of the track. Definitely not the ideal situation, but it is what it is. We can't win them all though. Hopefully he gets back on track nice and quickly though. It doesn't look like he's lost the position to Valentin. It looks like he's still holding on to that ahead of the P5 bike. So he remains P4. He's only lost out on the podium seat at the moment. And he's still within a chance because of course Steiner may still make a mistake. He may still get collected by a lapper. Anything can happen in the next couple of laps or so. Finn then holding on. 15.6. And it looks like those of you that voted no might be getting away with it here tonight. We've got Brad though. Oh no! The commentator's curse comes back once again in the final moments. Getting incredibly close now as we come into the final lap now for the racing leader. Once again, we'll do a lap with the leader to see the lines he's taken. And then we'll flick on through down the rest of the field as we get through the finishing bikes. The commentator's curse has struck me, Joe. It might make the battle a little bit more interesting. There's 11 seconds between them. It's going to take another crash here on Brad's behalf to close that gap down, I think. I don't think Finn's got quite that much pace, although he's not too far back. Like in the grand scheme of things, he's coming over the crosses ice jump. Brad just came over this Valor jump. They're not that far apart. Like I say, now is when he's going to be feeling the pressure more than ever. He knows he cannot afford to make any more mistakes like that. And the thing is, on one of these sand circuits, a crash could be great. It could just be like a couple of seconds you lose, or you could go off and you struggle to get back on the track and you'd lose all sorts of time. It can be a true disaster around a circuit like this. So hopefully, for Brad's sake, we don't see that. Navo with the sub, baby. 4 months in a row. Big fat W's to Navo in the chat, boys. And of course, we've got to shout out our mans. How are we getting on, boy? How are we getting on? If you don't know Lavo? Give him a follow. I don't know how you don't know him, but you may be new to MX Bikes. He's the voice of the NA races in the Supercross especially. Lavo. Where is Finn? Finn is down in P3. Oh no, he's had a huge crash by the looks of it. Steiner managed to find his way through on the Ace Motobike. Oh, disaster there then for the TSCZ Husqvarna. We were saying it was going to come down to Brad making a mistake. I didn't even bank on the fact that Finn might make a mistake. That is a tough situation then for the Husqvarna. He's down in P3. He's got 3 seconds to Steiner. Steiner keeps the gap now with roughly half a lap to go. Brad crashed and he lost like 12 seconds. It looks like he's across the line though here for P1 here in Arnhem for Moto 1 for the MX2 class. Steiner then across the line for P2 for the Ace Moto team on his Husqvarna. And Finn a very close P3. Just 16 seconds off the lead there. Very nice stuff indeed. Let's get this prediction finished before I forget about it. Let's get that out of the way. Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go then. Probably holding on to the P4 position. We've got Tob taking home P5. Valentin for Lipasek for P6, sorry. And takes P5 due to the technicality there. Tob having a penalty on the board. Lipo coming out of nowhere to get some good points there towards the end of the moto. Down then takes P8 and Willie for P9. Reapadot coming home. Can he take P10? Yes, sir, he can. 48 seconds off the leader. Not a bad race at all. Down then for P11 and Lenert having a tough time here in the final corner. Looks like he's lost out to the P11 position. I think Yoku took it away. I may be wrong though. I think he might be too far back. Maybe not. Lenert then for P12. Yoku will take P13 and Freitas for P14 on the Trial KTM just behind. Firmo then having a nice race. We'll be scrolling through Somerville, don't you worry. Firmo then will be taking the P5, the P15 position, sorry, the P5 position. Deary me. Revel then on the 9.9 KTM takes P16 and Redo for P17, Vepi for P18. I believe, as long as nothing major goes wrong in the next couple of turns. Looking like he's keeping himself smooth there. No commentator's curse on the last lap for Svepi. And he gets the position ahead of Neon there, due to Neon's penalties on the track. Can Sandchicken do the same, or is he too far back to capitalise on Neon's penalties? I think he's just a little bit too far back, if you ask me. Yes, he is. Sullivan picking up P20 and Sandchicken for 21. Cloud then takes P22, and Pump will secure P23, presumably. Yes, indeedy. And then we have Laurent in P24, Matteo P25, Samu for 26, Louis for P28, 7, Alma for P28, Den Dave for P29, RDJ for P30, and Lanson P31. The rest retired. But the top three, Brad, Steiner, and Finn, are the ones to watch throughout the rest of the night for the 250 crowd. Unfortunately for you, though, we're going over to the 450 crowd to go see the Speedy Boys and see what sort of times they can put on the board. In fact, let's have a little look at the lap times here real quick. A 44.9 there from Finn. I've just missed the rest of them, but if you really want, you can go back and screenshot it, I'm sure. For now, though, we're going to have the edits come back on once again while we wait to hop in to the 450 edits. The 450 edits, the 450 race, 450 Moto 2 coming up soon. Don't go anywhere. On the gates then for 450 Moto 2. Who's it going to be to the whole shot? Let's get these gates going here in just a second. Down they go and off we are. A couple of bikes there starting to get some wheelies. This guy doing bike life. Jams is just doing bike life in the background there. Oscar, though, on the Illusion Racing KTM, pulls off the whole shot there. And Tyler J immediately around the outside, trying to secure that P1 position to come up and over the JVDL Design tabletop. Looks like Oscar's going to hold that P1 position, at least for the moment, as Tyler J scrubs his way past over the Cross Designs jump. A lovely move by Allbeans. Have a little look at the rest of the field then as they fly on by. Keeping themselves as solid as we can here at the moment. Larson there. Dorian, we got Dio. Alright, let's have a little bit back up with the front end of the field. We're back with Tyler J leading the race ahead of Oscar on the Illusion Racing KTM. We've got Dill Pickle and Hack on then fighting it out for P3. We're going to get back with the TV cams now, so I don't have to do that with the controller because it confuses my brain. Anyways, back up with the front of the field then. We have these guys leading the pack. We've got Tyler J, of course, in the top spot there, just a second and a half ahead. But within the next second, we have Dill Pickle, Hack-On, and Oscar. Illusion Racing KTM, they're looking to try and get the move done here. Hack-On trying to do some things as well on the Ace Moto KTM, looking to try and close that gap up between himself and Tyler J once again here in the second moto in the Netherlands. Hack-On then down the outside of Dill Pickle and the inside of Oscar, gets it done through the middle. There we go. Absolutely beautiful stuff for the Ace Moto rider. Oscar then struggling to hold on to that P2 position here. He may be able to re-secure it if he's lucky, but it looks like Hack-On's going to get the better drive into the corner and secures the P2 position there ahead of the Illusion KTM. We've got Dill Pickle then holding on for P4, looking to try and squeeze his way up and onto the podium. It looks like Lynn's got a pretty decent start there, as did Cam. Cam on the MXBMR bike, keeping a pretty decent, stable entry into this corner. Looks like Oscar's had a tough time there. And Lynn's off wide on the FXR. Oh, we're on a Suzuki today. On the FXR Suzuki. Back up at the front of the field, Hakon's now caught the racing leader, Tyler J. And we're literally talking about tenths of a second here between these two riders. Getting extremely close to the back of the MXBMR Husqvarna, or KTM rather. It always confuses me. Every week I call it Husqvarna, and every week it's a KTM. Hakon, though, crashing out of P2, a really unfortunate sight to see there. Looks like Cam all the way up to P3 now, though, as a result. And Ken's P4. Certainly not going to be too upset with that at all. Have a little hydration there. Looks like Hakon's trying to close this gap up as much as we can. It's going to be a tough situation here to do so. Very, very difficult stuff indeed. Tyler J, of course, holding himself nice and steady. Cam then in that P2 position, getting all sorts of wobbly. Hakon then going to close his way back up. He's currently holding the P3 position. So let's see what's going on. Lynn in the top 10 on the Dookie. He was up there in the top 5 Rockets Gates, but had a bit of an incident on the outside of a corner, went down to P10. He looks like he's back up to P8 now, though, which is always nice to see. I hope to see him climb up through the field. As we usually say with Linz, especially in these types of circuits, he can have a rough first couple of laps, but he usually comes back very, very strong in the second half of the race. And I'm sure we'll see him climb up pretty quickly. There you go, like 10 seconds off the leader now, P5. Getting that Suzuki moving. Got Ken's up in front there on the Ace Moto KTM. Not too far ahead of the Suzuki there. And Dill Pickle, of course, very much within range of the Ace Moto bike here. Ken's keeping a decent line there, losing a little bit of time to Dill Pickle, and obviously a little bit of time to Linz too. So not an ideal situation there. He's going to be wanting to try and maintain a little bit more consistency through that particular corner. Looks like the rest of the track, though, he stays pretty solid here on that Ace Moto bike. Cam there comes off and out of P2, all the way down then to the P4 position, I presume. Looks like, where is he? Where'd he go? Yeah, it looks like he's holding on ahead of Linz, at least for the moment. We'll see if that maintains for the rest of the race here. Bully down the inside, what a cheeky pass, slided his way through. Just absolutely capitalised on the mistake there that Linz made. What a cheeky slot through there. An unfortunate collision between the two riders, obviously left Linz to the outside. But you've got to take an opportunity like that when you're Billy, don't you, at the end of the day. Hakon here, closing into the background again, looking to try and secure that P5 position away from the ADT Go bike. It's not going to be an easy feat, though, here for Hakon. He tries around the outside on the Ace Moto bike. He's looking for a good drive here, up and over the Ace Moto tabletop, getting super sideways, super scrubby. Just couldn't pull it back, though. Couldn't get it facing the right direction, and Billy will secure that P5 position, at least for the moment. Tyler J then sits with a sigh of relief here at the moment, with a 5.3 second gap there between himself and Dill Pickle. He can finally breathe it for the first time in this moto, not under some immediate pressure, so he's going to be looking to try and extend that gap. Of course, we are looking for everyone to try and catch up with him, hopefully, and give us some good, tasty battles. That's what we're after here tonight. Tyler J there having a bit of a moment as he flies off the track and back onto it, keeping himself upright at least. Dill Pickle here, holding on for that P2 position on the MXBMR bike. His teammate up in front. They're going to be very, very happy here. They've got the locked out podium for the MXBMR team. They're going to be looking to try and continue to hold that for the rest of the night, I'm sure. Ken's, though, looking to try and change it just a few seconds off the back of Cam here at the moment. He's looking to try and close that gap down in the very, very near future, though. We'll see if that's possible. And of course, Hakon, usually a rider with some very, very serious pace. As long as he can keep it consistent, Hakon is never, never out of the running for the win. Just needs to keep his head in it. Sometimes he can let it get to him, and he just gets stuck down there in the back of the field. But of course, oh, Breezy, just holding on there. You couldn't, like, having those kind of moments, you can't let them frustrate you. You have to just keep pushing past them, just keep going on, and keep racing your race. And at the end of the day, the consistency will come to you. Dill Pickle keeping it nice and scrubby there over the tabletop. He's roughly 2 seconds to Tyler J now, though, so he's closed that gap up. Presumably, Tyler had a bit of an incident potentially on the KTM up here at the front. We shall see. We shall see. Keeping himself very solid there on the exit. can see opened up the second between P2 and 3. Dill Pickle there had a bit of a moment, and Cam finds his way through to the P2 position now. Once again here in the race, back up to P2 then, where he crashed out of a little earlier in the moto. 23 minutes in on the clock here in the Netherlands, and it's looking like a pretty nice race here so far. The rest of the field, we've got some great battles going on down here. We've got Linz holding on to a pretty decent P10 position here at the moment, just ahead of... Well, Pat Sheehan is ahead of him, I believe. I actually have no idea. I don't even know anymore. Linz is just ahead of Jez, so it looks like Eurus then is between... He's just behind. So the timing gate's not quite updated yet, but it is what it is. Looks like, who's that in front? That's Ben from the MXB shop team. Is he positioned? He is definitely positioned. That makes this the fight for P8 then on the circuit, as we see Oscar on the Illusion Racing KTM behind. Linz then tries to squeeze the Zuki down on the inside, gets it done. What a cheeky pass. Can he scrub it down? No, he can't. An unfortunate moment there as he just goes a little too scrubby over the wave section through that corner. Let's see if we can keep him moving though. Kenz is keeping himself as solid as he can for the foreseeable future. We'll see if he can maintain that. Currently holding on to P4 with roughly a second to Cam. Definitely not going to be out of the runnings just yet, that's for sure. Dill Pickle then resecures P2 as Cam makes a moment of his own and crashes back down to P3 by the looks of things. And Tyler J, now with a 4.3 second gap once again, is going to be very, very happy. Have a little look through the field. We've got Quacks here on the MXB Mods KTM. No, it's not a KTM, sorry, my apologies. That is it. What is that? Is that a Fantic? Not 100% sure. It is indeed. So there you go. The more you know. Oscar then down from the leading 3 all the way down to P13 he goes. There's some severe crashing out. Lindsay isn't in position by the looks of things. Ben finding his way back up and in front. We got Fatty Matty making it into the main on the RD Factory Racing team. Getting in there, boy, on the Husqvarna. No bias there, don't know what you're talking about. Hell yeah, always nice to see Matty make it. Tries very, very hard. Dill Pickle then with a 5-second gap to Tyler J, but a 10-second gap nearly. Well, not anymore. To Cam in the P3 position. Cam may be able to close this gap up quite significantly now, although it looks like he's had a crash of his own earlier in the lap, which is certainly not what he was hoping for. That gap may remain about the same as it was then. Definitely a tough situation. Kenz is stuck. Oh no. What happened to Kenz? Where'd he go? I've lost him completely. Here he is, P22. Oh no, what a disaster. That is so unfortunate to see there, falling from the top 5 all the way down to the back half of the field. That's going to be a hell of a drive if he can try and get it anywhere near the top 10 here tonight. You never like to see it. You never like to see it. Dill Pickle though, closing that gap down to just 3.9 seconds now between himself and the leader. Starting to reel him in just a teeny, tiny bit. Let's have a little look at these lap times, shall we? Expect them to be fast for the 450s. A 1:43.0 there from Tyler J is his fastest. And 43, 43, 46. Reasonably consistent there then. Dill Pickle though with a 42.775, the fastest that we've looked at for the moment. But you can see, not quite consistent. He's had a bit of a moment there, even while on screen. Cam here, not quite got a valid lap in by the looks of it just yet. So his best lap remains the first. Billy here with a 46.1. Oh, unfortunate moment there. It gets a decent recovery though, so in the grand scheme of things, not a bad crash. We've got Hakon and Breezy. Breezy makes his way up and through on the AJP KTM, just sneaking his way up through the field there. Didn't see him in the top 10, but here he is, all the way up, currently P5. Definitely going to be happy with that. Hakon, though, is going to secure the position as Breezy runs it wide and over the bars. Not what you want to see. The commentator's curse striking once again. It does it without discrimination, at least. Linz and Breezy then keeping themselves nice and steady. Breezy, not so much. Linz keeps his way through the corner then. On the Suzuki, the FXRG Fuel Rider, keeping himself steady. Maintains P6 now. Tyler J, though, all the way up at the front of the field with a 9-second gap to P2. He is starting to turn those taps on. Let's see what we've got. A 1:43.0 as his previous, or his previous best, rather. Let's see if he can try and close that gap down a little bit more. We know Dill Pickle's running slightly faster. When he stays upright, that is. Elia then keeping himself nice and steady. He's got a few seconds between himself and any other position, really. So we'll leave him alone for the moment. For now, we'll have a little look down towards Dilla and Eurus, who are separated by roughly half a second here on the two Husqvarnas. The Bird motorbike leading ahead of the QR bike. We're going to try and maintain that position. It's not going to be an easy one, though. Dilla tries to go down the inside. Eurus, though, gets a decent drive thanks to that outside line. Jumps his way down to the inside. A little bit of a case, but maintains the pace. Up and over the Ace Moto table we come. Dilla's going to come down and through the inside. What a beautiful scrub pass there. Absolutely textbook stuff. Very nice stuff indeed there for the QR bike. He's struggling a little bit with pace through the what they called the waves there. And Eurus is looking to try and close that gap up, of course. Dill Pickle has lost more time still after another crash, and Cam finds his way up and through into the P2 position then as we come through the next lap or so. Currently holding on to 17 minutes on the clock here. We'll see if we can try and close up some more gaps here in the near future. Hack on, of course, 27.9 from the leader. We'll see if he can close that gap soon. Zuki Man looks like he's back up to P6 once again on the FXR G Fuel Suzuki. A little bit of a gap there between himself and the bikes behind. Looks like Breezy's had another moment there. Not what you want to see for Breezy if you're the AJP team leader. Hopefully he can continue to get himself back up into the front of the field, though. He's showing some decent promise here tonight, provided he can stay decently consistent. That's the main thing. That's the name of the game. Dill Pickle then collides with Cam. That's the battle for P2 on once again then between these two riders. Cam crashing down and risking losing the position here once again to his teammate. Let's Dill through. And the fight is on once again between the two racing teammates. Looks like Cam's keeping some nice tidy lines here behind. Might be able to close that gap up if he can take advantage of the tiny places where Dill Pickle is weak around these laps. Keeping themselves very, very smooth here. Neither bike wanting to make any unforeseen mistakes. Unforced error is the worst kind of error at the end of the day. Big old scrub there for Dill Pickle. Looks like he's opened that gap up between himself and Cam quite nicely here. A few seconds separated them, and it looks like Cam may have a couple of penalties on the board, which is sure to set Dill Pickle's mind at ease. You see, because Hack on here, it says just 5 seconds, but that gap looks a considerable amount closer than 5 seconds, but there you go. Dill Pickle off and out, Cam off and out, both bikes following each other's line there. Neither rider taking the actual corner. It's always quite entertaining. Let's have a little flick on through the field, shall we? Of course, Tyler J is still leading here. A little bit of screen time for the leader as always on his crystal white KTM. Keeping himself as solid as we can here on the MXBM marker bike. 23.4 seconds over the last timing gate there due to Dill Pickle and Cam's minor bump, let's call it. Dill Pickle then holding P2. Cam for P... Okay, I assume he fell off at this part of the track and then kind of like just had to come back across the other. Not to worry. Billy there having a moment. Hack-on is holding on nicely for P4. He may genuinely be able to close up with Cam if Cam keeps making these silly mistakes. Lynn's here as well, not too far back, 49 to the leader. He's going to struggle for the win here at the end of the moto, but holding on for a relatively decent race here so far. Getting some good points on the board once again. Always promising for the championship positions. Holding on still with a fun 46 is his average lap. 44 there on lap 5. I didn't count by the looks of things. So potentially struggling with a couple of mistakes per lap, or a couple of track limits incursions maybe. Who even knows? Big love, Jesse. How are we getting on, man? Hope you're having a nice night. We were at like 2:12 earlier. It was pretty wacky. There was another dude that was streaming. I think this is a relatively big streamer. So that's always fun. So new record at least, eh? New record. keeping ourselves nice and solid here at the moment. We've got Hakon, of course, chilling in the P3 position. Looks like Cam is just kind of laying in the track there. Not very happy with the crash, I assume. And can't blame him, to be honest. We've got Hakon there, taking P3 as a result. Hell yeah, Jesse. Hell yeah. But yeah, Cam keeping himself nice and steady, at least trying to. Linz, of course, on the FXR G Fuel Suzuki. I think I just heard my cat. If I hear him again, I'll go get him. But for now, we will try and ignore him. He'll be all right for the meantime. J here, of course, on that red plate KTM, starting to come through some back marker traffic now. We've got Owen just up in front on the Aero X KTM. Owen, of course, another rider that's usually got some decent contention in these kind of races. But unfortunately, this particular sand track has just proven very, very difficult. Tyler J here is going to have to try and make something work here. We're going to have a little look at his lap time here. Or his lap lines, rather, as he's trying to pick our way through the traffic. So, of course, it's not going to be the optimum lap line, or the optimum line through every corner, as we try and pick our way past the blue flag bikes, but we're going to try and keep some good pace, of course, for the race lead. So we'll see if we can open that gap up more. He's got a 35.2 second gap there between himself and P2. As long as he can keep slicing his way through the back of the field here, he shouldn't have any major issues here tonight. Looks like he's doing it again here tonight. Once again, Tyler J up in the lead by such a considerable margin. Hakon's one that, like I say, as long as he can keep that bike up, he has a chance to catch him. He's got the pace. He proves that here with the 142.2. Tyler J at 43.0. That's 8 tenths between the two fastest laps. Call it 7 tenths actually, because it's a 2.94. Yeah, 8 tenths will do. Hakon is going to open that gap up more though by flipping his bike over the outside of the corner. Like I say, he may have some incredible pace, but he does struggle for consistency sometimes, and this circuit seems to be one of them. Dill Pickle then back up to P2 presumably. Looks like he is. Yeah, keeping himself nice and solid then as we come up and over the AB Customs jump. Once again, been nice and scrubby over the table. Down the inside line we go then for Dill Pickle. Up and over, keeping nice and steady as we do so over the Black Label Company jumper too. Alright, let's try and find some battles, shall we? What do we got? Linz holding on P6. Piecing gaps are all around. Quacks there. We'll have to have a word, because not really supposed to be running a red plate if he's not the red plate bike. Well, there you go. Billy and Dilla here. It looks like they are fighting for position. This is the battle for, I believe, P7 or 8. I believe it's for the fight for P7 and 8. And I believe Quacks is P9 now on the board. Dilla then, presumably with a penalty or two. Not entirely sure. We'll have to check that out in the very near future as they come over the next timing gate. For now though, keeping it steady here for Billy. Tyler J though, look at this. Going off the track on the outside unfortunately there for a brief moment, but a 39.4 second gap with Hakon and Dill Pickle getting into the fight here in the battle for P2. And having a nice little battle between the two riders. We've got the Husqvarna and the KTM, of course. Privateer Jez trying to find his way back up to the back of the bike in front. It's going to be a tough little battle though. We've got a battle developing between Eurus and Linz here by the timing gates. Looks like that's already happened, and Linz all the way through to P4 now. Was that? No. Okay. Thought that was Dill Pickle up in front there for a moment. It's Kempy on the Dill Pickle Racing KTM, so that explains that one. Kempy allows him through under the blue flag, and Linz will go through to continue to hold that P4 position, luckily without any hindrance. Always lovely to see. Cam as well, having a reasonable race here today. He's kind of been struggling for the pace here in the second moto. Well, not necessarily the pace in actuality. Look, he's running a 56, but he's been struggling with consistency. You can see his lap times kind of all over the place. He ran a 51.6 there, but in fact, pace and consistency for Cam, unfortunately. He's got a 43.9, but it's just not counting. Either breaching track limits and picking up a penalty, or crashing off and just not having a good time. Either way, not the optimum line. We've got Larson here doing pretty well, currently holding on to the P13 position on the Blitzco KTM. Always lovely to see. We've got Fatty Matty there just behind on the RDFR bike, looking to close in. I need to remember to get his gear and liveries as well, so he can promote his own Fatty graphics scope. Ooh, all sorts of wobbly there. Looking to try and close in once again with the back of Larson though. It's not going to be an easy feat though, so hopefully we can check in with that in a little while. For now, looks like Hakon's lost the position to Dill Pickle again. Dill Pickle finds his way back up to P2, unless he has some severe penalties that we're not aware of. We went over a timing gate there. Hakon remained P2, and Dill Pickle remained P3, so yeah, looks like that's the case. Looks like that's the case. Dill Pickle then with presumably 5 seconds of penalties? Because he's got, what, a 2-second gap behind him to Hakon by my visual estimate, and a 3-second gap according to the timing board. Hakon is ahead of Dill Pickle. So, not really sure there. I believe it's roughly a 5-second penalty for Dill Pickle, which is really not what he needs here. With 6.5 minutes on the clock, he doesn't have that kind of time to open up enough of a gap between himself and Hakon. We know Hakon is a very, very capable rider. As long as he keeps that shiny side up and the rubber side down, he'll be having a good time. You can see Lynn's here, holding on very, very nicely. Hitting super scrubby there on the FXR G Fuel Suzuki. Trying to keep it nice and stable. We've got Quacks here on the MXB Mods Racing, whatever the bike this is. This is a, I think it's Fantic. I think we went through this earlier. Yeah, it's having a nice time regardless. Jez and Dill are having a battle here in the fight for P7 now. Getting onto a decent bit of battling here between the QR bike and the privateer just up in front. Looks like Dilla's trying to make a move down the inside of Jez here. It's not going to be an easy position though. I missed my helicopter cam, JV. Where'd he go? Yeah, nice battle developing here between Dilla and Jez. Always lovely, lovely stuff. We're going to continue to have some nice battles throughout the rest of the race, hopefully, between these guys. Trying to make it down the inside there on the QR Husqvarna. Not quite getting the line in. Really quite scrubby there though. He's found a fantastic momentum. Jez goes down and Dilla through then up and into the P7 position once again for the QR Husqvarna. The gap between the leader and P2 extends again to 35.740. A ridiculous gap by anyone's account there. Fatty Matty currently P13 under threat of being lapped here. Keeping himself nice and stable here. It looks like he's found his way past Dill Pickle's bike now on track as well. Presumably Dill Pickle had a bit of a moment, judging by the gap between them. Let's have a little look at these lap times once again, shall we? Tyler J with a 143.0 as his best, and running relatively consistent in that pace or thereabouts. Hakon, a 141.593 on that previous lap. An absolutely blistering pace then. And again, struggling just a little bit more than Tyler J is to maintain around the 43s. So that's going to be a tough one to explain. And we have the 42.7 here for Dill Pickle. Again, struggling once again to just maintain that strong consistency. If Hakon and Dill Pickle had that consistency, they would be up there all day long with Tyler J. But that's the key, really. That is what they need to be going home and working on. Lindsay's holding on to a pretty decent race after all. A P4 currently as we come into the closing few minutes. Again, running nice consistent laps there. A couple of mistakes here and there, but nothing too unpredictable. It is a sand track after all, and a very, very difficult one at that. A little look on come through the field. We got AK here. We got Mix doing reasonably well on the X-Crew Husky. Genocide off the track, unfortunately. Pat Sheehan trying to close into the back of Cam and unlap himself. In fact, no, Cam's just all the way down there naturally. How did Cam get to P17 and now 18? And more importantly, how did he land that? He just pulls a cheeky backflip. I thought, yeah, no, he did get hit by Pat Sheehan there. Managed to pull it back around somehow. Barboso has favoured him tonight. Not with the position, but with the landing. Back up with the racing leader then, as he finally gets his way past Fatty Matty and up through 29 seconds now to Hakon. Ooh, that gap's going to open up. That gap's opening up. Hakon's had a tough time there as he tries to find his way past the blue flag bike. It just didn't happen though on this occasion. Not written in the stars. Lynn's here trying to keep himself as smooth as we can. Coming down through the hairpin now. Lovely stuff. And keeping himself stable. We've got Jez not too far back. Billy a little bit of a gap there between himself and Jez. Something like not far off of him though. You can see him just up in front there. Larson coming through. He's certainly not far off the back of these guys either. Of course, Matty there. We've got Ken's here on the Ace Moto KTM. He got off to a great start. Lost a few positions early on, down to P13 now. But ultimately, not a bad race at all though from the Ace Moto rider. Calm there. Owen here. We've got Pat Sheehan having a battle between himself and Hakon. Hakon, of course, lapping him at the moment. Doing nice. Doing nice. Back up with the front of the field we go. Dill, Pickle and Cam have a bit of a moment there. Not 100% sure what happened. I do kind of want to have a quick look, just because I'm curious. Oh, it looks like Cam crashed on the landing. And unfortunately, Dill Pickle just got collected. There's nothing you can do about that. Absolutely no time to react. Here we come then. Tyler J keeping himself as stable as we can around the outside line here. There you go. 35 seconds once again between himself and Hakon, thanks to Hakon's prior mistake that we mentioned earlier on. And 45 seconds on the clock now. Not long left. Just a few laps remaining. Tyler J has pretty much all but got this in the bag. Again, nice and smooth. Quacks and Jez here. Battle for P6, I presume. Little working out. Looks like Dilla's actually ahead in P6, so these guys are fighting out for P7 at the moment. Jez down the inside on the privateer KTM. Quacks on the MXB Mods Racing Fantic. Let's try and maintain his position. I actually can't tell if that's a Fantic or a Honda. I think it's a Fantic. Here trying to pick his way past the blue flag bikes. Kempy taking his way off track there, and unfortunately nearly cross jumps Littens. That could have ended in a disaster. Thankfully doesn't. Yeah, it looks like these gaps here up at the front of the field starting to open up a reasonable amount. Dilla and Quacks was the battle to watch, but it looks like they're reasonably separate actually. Dilla potentially harbouring some nasty penalties then. Or Quacks has made mistakes. One of the two, and or both. Have a little look-see then as Hakon maintains the P2 position, keeping himself as stable as he can here at the moment. Remember, I believe he's the fastest at the moment on the circuit. In fact, no, I stand corrected. Tyler J has managed to get one in on the board finally with a proper lap time there of 41.0. Look at that on the 16th lap of the race with just 2.5 remaining. He's going to be very, very happy with that. Flick through the field, see if we can find any battles. We've got Mixed and AK-12 3MX looking to try and close on up. It looks like AK's off the track though, unfortunately, so that's that battle resolved pretty quickly. Next battle, maybe. Looks like Linz has found his way past Genocide. Owen's a little bit away from people. Ken's has got himself a nice bit of breathing room there. Up to P12 now. It's another position since last we saw him. Marston 2 up to P11 now, nearly in that top 10. Very, very nearly there. Remember how far back Ken's went as well, lads. He was all the way back here. And has climbed his way all the way back up to P12. Like I said, I was almost very doubtful if he would ever make it back up to that top 10. But he's incredibly close. Okay, Trouble 3MX having a crash there. Eurus makes his way through as a result. Back on there on the last lap, the 42.6 and 43 on the previous, so getting his times reasonably consistent. He says, cursing him again. God damn the commentator's curse, man. I need to find a way to cure that. I didn't see it. 1 minute 24 to the leader. Not the gap I was expecting here. Unfortunately, he's had a tough last couple of laps by the looks of things. Excuse me. No idea how he crashed there, but there we go. Looked like he just kind of let go of his bike. Tyler J, though, in the P1 position, keeping himself very, very stable in the process with a 37.1 second gap there to the P2 position. So he's going to be very, very happy indeed. Dill Pickle, 101 to the leader, and he's P3. Tyler J then kind of just waltzing away once again. And as always, he's got great pace, but it's not just the pace that keeps him up there at the front of the field, it is the consistency. Dill Pickle was running faster laps much earlier in the race than Tyler J was, but has actually managed to keep his position. Unfortunately, he has had a lot of minor incidents in his race, so hopefully we see less of those in the future, eh? Four now though, we're on our final lap. We're going to do it with Tyler J. It looks like he had a bit of a moment of his own. Always a tough situation here then. And up and over the back label co jump. He's looking nice and solid. Nice and solid as we come over the pit straight, around that right hand corner and up towards the finish line. That's P1 here for Moto 2 in the MX1 class. A fantastic night then here for Tyler J. By anyone's accounts, absolutely what he was after. Hack on then, up and over the AB Customs jump. We come scrubbing our way over there, down into the final few turns of the circuit. Coming down the pit straight now. Hack on the Ace Moto KTM will be securing the P2 position here. Up and over the Black Label Company jump we come, down towards the long right-hander. Lovely stuff here. That's going to be good night here from Hackon. P2 indeed. Thank you very much, he says. We will take it. Next bike is Dill Pickle with a 106 second gap here to the leader. A rather considerable one. We're going to have a lot of lap down bikes finish between now and then. In fact, maybe not. Maybe not. We'll have them finish in the near future though. 4 now though. Dill Pickle going to be wrapping up the podium. Another bike up there for the MXBMR team. That's 2 out of 3 on the podium. Lovely stuff indeed. Dilla and Linz. Looks like Linz has got a last minute position. Is he holding on to his P4? That's the real question. I actually am not 100% sure. I think he is. Dilla there goes down. Where is Eurus? Eurus is behind, yes. So, okay. You've got this correct. Linz then currently holding on to the P4 position on the track, presumably on the leaderboard as well, barring any penalties, of course. And across the line we come then on the Suzuki for P4 here in the Netherlands. Dilla finishes P5 and Eurus will take P6, but past them both due to Lin's and Dilla's penalties. Lin's then down to P5 and Dilla's P6 as a result. Quacks will take P7 on the MXB Mods Racing, whatever bike that is. Genocide then for P19 and AK 3MX on the K-Dog KTM will be the last bike across the line. Not last in the race though, with the P20 on the board and plenty of retirees behind. Has he run out of fuel? I think he ran out of fuel. Cheer him across the line, chat. Woo! Well done, AK3. He made it. Let's go. Hilarious. Anyways, we have ourselves a nice little race here in the 450 class. Have a little look at lap times. A 140.8 from Hakon. Blistering lap time there then. Just 0.2 faster than Tyler J in the optimum speed trap there.